It's time for business. Kate Moody is with us, starting with a new development regarding Donald Trump's tariffs against China.
And it's a problem that's coming from close to home for the president. The electric car maker Tesla has filed a lawsuit against the administration, asking it to end what it calls unlawful tariffs. Now, Tesla imports some parts for its cars, and while some of them had been granted a waiver, they've now been slapped with a 25% tariff as part of the US-China trade war. The lawsuit has been filed in the New York-based Court of International Trade. Tesla is asking for the tariffs to be overturned and for the money it's paid reimbursed. Separately, Tesla shares closed down 10% today after its announcements of a cheaper electric car and a new generation of electric batteries underwhelmed investors. Well, that contributed to another tech-driven sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow Jones shedding some 550 points at the close, down nearly 2%. The S&P 500 back in the red, down well over 2%. The Nasdaq down nearly 3%. Shares of the major tech giants are down around 10% each for September so far. Nike was one of the rare stocks to close higher. It gained around 9% and hit a record high as it reported an 82% jump in online sales. Earlier, the major European indices closed higher. The FTSE 100 up over 1% in London, the CAC 40 about 2/3 here in Paris. The French government has announced plans to double the amount of paid paternity leave from 2 to 4 weeks. Only around 2/3 of new fathers currently take advantage of the time already offered, although 80% of the French public has supported these changes. The new measures will cost around 500 million euros to France's social security program. They'll take effect next summer. Announcing the changes in an Instagram video, President Emmanuel Macron said it was a crucial step for families as well as for gender equality.
Cette mesure du congé paternité, elle est extrêmement importante dans tout le travail que nous menons depuis le début du quinquennat pour une plus grande égalité entre les femmes et les hommes. Bien évidemment, il y a beaucoup de mesures à prendre pour contrer cela, pour permettre justement de corriger ces inégalités. Mais il y en a une absolument essentielle, c'est de laisser le temps aux parents de s'occuper et d'aimer leur enfant.
The coronavirus pandemic has plunged France's economy into recession, and it's hit the export sector especially hard. Industries from tourism to aviation are reporting huge losses that could total 100 billion euros by the end of the year. Luke Schrago has more.
A drop in exports that's hit companies across France. These workshops in the Paris region produce brakes for large vehicles, with around 80% of the company's wares destined for foreign markets.
This range here is going to Italy. It's a market where we've seen a 25% drop. Over here are products destined for the Czech Republic. They're items for school buses that are mainly French-produced. There's been a 25% drop there too.
The director is currently looking at a 30% drop in his firm's turnover and major consequences for his staff.
When there's no work, you can't ask employees to work slower. If there's no work, we can alter the payroll, mainly by taking on fewer temporary workers.
He's not alone. With the pandemic closing borders, France's exports have crumbled worldwide. Its sales to Germany have dropped by 14 billion euros, by 7.5 billion to Spain and Italy, and to the United States by 8.4 billion. It's left an overall loss of 100 billion less in exports compared to 2019, with the chemical industry, the food production industry and aviation all among those sectors worst hit, and all among those most important to French trade. The balance is even more off-kilter when imports are factored in.
During the lockdown, our imports dropped a lot less than our exports. It means we continued to consume and purchase products from abroad.
France's estimated exports will rise by 40 billion euros next year, not enough to offset 2020's losses.
The British government has warned of a traffic jam of up to 7,000 heavy trucks in Kent if businesses don't step up their preparations for Brexit. Now, the footage that you're about to see was from a trial run for emergency traffic installations back in 2019, but it could be a precursor of things to come if their warnings are to be believed. Logistics and freight companies have long warned they don't have enough detail to prepare for the future, but Cabinet Officer Minister Michael Gove said the worst-case scenario could be avoided if businesses get their proper permits in time. Opposition leaders accused the government of trying to pass off the blame for Brexit chaos to industries. The transition period is due to expire at the end of this year, just 100 days' time, and a trade deal with the EU has yet to be reached. Mark?
Who's surprised at that? I mean, they've been warning about it since the whole thing was mooted, and now here we are in the situation, and Gove says, well, as long as they get their permits. How is it going to help them get their permits? That's the thing, isn't it? Kate, thanks
There's a
very
lot
much
of paperwork on both sides of the channel to be done, Mark.
Yes, indeed. Ah, well, Brexit. Great stuff. Kate, thank you very much indeed. Kate with the business.